Hi, I'm Nicholeen Peck. I'm a parenting expert and I've raised many children of my own. And in this video, we are going to talk about bedtime routine mistakes to avoid. So you want a smooth bedtime routine. I mean, who doesn't? Like, we enjoy the day so much and we almost dread that moment, don't we? When it's time to go to bed because we know we're going to have to go through all this stuff and get everybody to get in there and not come out and need drinks and bathroom and everything else that they need. It can get a little crazy sometimes. So what we're going to talk about in this video is the bedtime mistakes to avoid, but also what you can do to make bedtime a success. I'm going to share with you 6 mistakes that parents often make, and it makes bedtime routines hard for them. So, number 1, bribing. Don't bribe the children to go to bed. You need to teach them the skill for how to go to bed. That's what they need, and we're going to talk about that a little bit later when we get to the how-to section, how to make that bedtime a little bit more successful. So don't bribe. It's never going to work. All right, this is a big one. Lying in bed with the child or having the child lay in your bed to go to sleep. This is a problem. If you are trying to get the child to go to bed and you're coaxing them by being there with them, you create a dependency on you being there. I was actually just the other day talking with a parent on the Teaching Self-Government support call, and she was like, that was a bad choice that we made because now we've got to try to break this habit. Our daughter is, I believe she said 8 years old and still wants them to come and lie in bed with them. So this is what happens if you form that type of habit or dependency with the parent being there. I know it seems all cuddly and cute when they're small, but don't let that go on for very long because that's going to make go to bed frustrating every night. Here's the most modern mistake that people make, and that is putting the child in front of the TV or a digital device to get them to go to sleep. This is counterintuitive because TVs and digital devices stimulate the brain, which means it's going to take the child longer for their brain activity to calm down. Also, it makes them have a hard time sleeping. So they will wake up more in the night if they've had that stimulation happen in the brain right before bed. So the last thing you want to do is be looking at a screen or any kind of blue light before a person is going to bed. So what do you do instead? How about the good old-fashioned bedtime stories? Or what about songs together? Some little cuddles talking about your day. That would be a much better way to do a bedtime routine than putting a child in front of a screen. Next, taking too long. Some parents take forever to go through the nighttime routine because they allow the child to take forever to go through the nighttime routine. Don't have a whole bunch of things in place that you have to do before bed. Maybe we should do some of those things a little earlier, such as brush the teeth. If you know you just had your night snack, brush the teeth then. Or if you know that you just had dinner and you're not going to eat again before bedtime, brush the teeth then. Create a habit of brushing teeth at that time. Create a habit of maybe even saying prayer before you do stories together as a family at night. Have some of those things happen ahead of time so that you aren't filling in 10 or 12 things before bed. Then you can just go to the bathroom and give a cuddle and go to bed. You've got to make it shorter. If it's too long, you won't get through it, and neither will they without frustration. Are some of these tips insightful to you? Well, if they are, subscribe to this channel. I've got tons of videos, some that come out every single day, that can give you more tips and helps to make your family life run more smoothly. So a huge mistake, like I said, is taking too long. Another huge mistake is doing too many things before bed. Those are kind of related. And finally, one of the biggest mistakes that people make is they don't actually come tuck their child in. They assume in their mind that they should be like, just go to bed, and that the child doesn't have any type of emotional needs to feel closure at the end of the day. Well, the child does. The child needs a connection with their parents. parent to help them feel safe and protected in the night. So go tuck your child in, maybe say a prayer with them, sing them a little song or lullaby, even if they're older. Maybe don't sing, but go and have a talk with them. So what I do with my son, who's 16 years old, he's my last child at home, is it's nighttime and I say, all right, you know what, we better get to bed. He just goes, he does his thing, he goes to bed. And then he waits in there with his lamplight on. And I go in and I kneel down next to his bed. I give him a little kiss and a little hug and we talk for just a few minutes about his day or about something. We have a little bond, a little connection. That is probably one of the most important parts of our day. Just to have that time, him and me, to talk about how much we care about each other or something that we feel like might be important or fun or sometimes even a little silly. It's just me and him. Even at 16, he'll say, Mom, come give me a kiss. Because what he means is, Mom, come talk to me for a minute. Our bond is tight because I've done that his whole life. It doesn't have to take a long time. It can take a matter of a couple of minutes, but that is vital for the security of your child and for strengthening your relationship and making bedtime successful. So I want to give you some tips for what you can do to make bedtime more successful. Tip number 1 is learn about self-government. So after this video, I highly recommend going to my next video, which is what is self-government, so that you can learn more there. But learn about self-mastery, because if you can teach your children certain skills of self-government, then that is going to make their bedtime routines much more successful, much more streamlined. So what's one of the skills of self-government that's going to make a big difference? That is following instructions. If you teach a child how to follow instructions, then you can say, all right, I'm giving you an instruction. Do you remember how to follow an instruction? And in their mind, they go through the 5 steps. Look at the person, keep a calm face, voice, and body, say okay or ask to disagree appropriately, do the task immediately, and then check back. Yep, I know how to follow instructions, Mom. Then you say, okay, here's your instruction. I'm giving you an instruction to go and do your bedtime routine, and then I'll be in to give you a kiss in a few minutes. Okay, they run off to do it. Mom, I did the routine. Come give me a kiss. Then you go in, you give them a kiss, you have the little talk, the little moment that's so powerful. Turn out the light. And they're off to bed. Pre-planning ahead of time for the skills that you need to make it successful is going to be huge too, especially when they're little. If they're toddlers, you've got to pre-plan. So there's a little game that we play when I have toddlers, and it's called It's Time for Bed. And we practice it in the daytime when it's not time for bed. And I tell them, we're not going to really go to bed, but we're going to play a game called It's Time for Bed. And little children love that. We play the game. I say, it's time for bed. They go do all the little things. They get in the bed, and then I say, okay, I'm going to tuck you in. Stay here for just a couple of minutes, and then I'll come tell you it's morning, and after that, we'll have a treat, okay? So then they go in. They stay in their bed for a couple of minutes. I come in and say, it's morning. You did such a great job. Your routine. You did everything. Now it's time to have a treat. We practice it a few times, and then I say, you know, now when it's bedtime, I know you can do everything just perfect. So what we're going to do is we're going to say, it's time for bed. Then I'll come give you a kiss and we'll have a little talk. And then in the morning tomorrow, you'll get a treat. And they get to have a treat for maybe about 2 weeks, no longer than that, just enough to create the habit so that they can get that routine down for how to go to bed. If you have enjoyed this video, I know you're going to love the next video, which is what is self-government? What we've been talking about here is how to teach children to govern themselves at bedtime. Well, there's a lot of other aspects to self-government and different ways that you can use it and skills that you'll want to utilize. So go to that video, What is Self-Government, to learn more.